Welcome to Comics with Jose. My name is Jose. I love comics and I want to share them with you. Follow me on Twitter at artofjvelez or on Instagram at jvelez622. I share some doodles and drawings as well as a comic book that I'm working on free of charge. Like, follow, and subscribe if you enjoy this. We'll go over comic books that I have and enjoy. However, I do use the digital version for the purposes of this. We kind of review the artwork and the story of comic books that I think are pretty cool and I think people should read and get. Hope you enjoy it. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me and returning to me ramble on and talk about my favorite subject, comic books. Today we are going to be taking a look at Thor number 345 from 1984. This is written and drawn by Walter Simonson with incredible letterings by John Workman Jr. So we start with this cover. There's Malekith on the cover. I really like this cover. New York City skyline down here, Thor right up here, and of course Malekith right there. I just think it's a very impactful cover. I like the fact that they left this white, and it is also white on the original cover. This, of course, has been recolored. This has all the nooks and crannies of today's comic books, but it's pretty similar to the drawing. But in the originals, there wasn't all this, you know, difference in colors. It was all one color. It was a very striking. Think of the way Superman's cape, the red. That's what it was. It was all just a solid red. But regardless, very great cover here. So we start out in this office here, where a doctor calls for a secretary. It looks like it is a Dr. Willis here. So he calls and she shows up and he attacks her. And very good introduction. It's not quite a splash page, but it's a mostly of a splash here. So credits down here. Walter Simonson and John Workman Jr. John Workman Jr., even though he is the letterer, he is quite the letterer. My absolute favorite. So he is basically going to feed her. That is what this is all about. He is going to feed her a burger and some fries. And when she eats it, she screams. And the cops hear that and they go and take him. And notice that the woman has disappeared and almost crumbled into dust. And they're saying, you know, this is Miss Ordway's clothes. I saw her come in and didn't see her leave, and so they're all looking at him, and so they're gonna take him in. And then, of course, there is the title of of this chapter here. So, and so, Thor and Melody are having kind of like just a little trip around New York. They're in a carriage ride, and she, of course, is reflecting on everything that's going to happen, or what her plans are. Once again, I just want to look at Simonson's art. It's just amazing. I love how simple it just he makes everything look so simple. It isn't, but he's so good. He just makes it look so so good. So now Dr. Willis is in jail, and he sees that the secretary was trouble, but he should have handled it different. Um, and she comes in asking if he wants something to eat. He says no, but would like the phone call to his lawyer. She says she'll be back and see what is going on. Here, she's on the phone and says, "Yep, he found our agent basically and disposed of her." And then there's some instructions. She's like, "What? That'll blow my cover." And then, all right, I'll do it at once. So here she gives everyone in the office some cookies, and he's saying, something was wrong. She, she thinks they found him again, which they did, and says the police officers will not be bothering him anymore. Um, and he asks who she is, and she's an obedient servant of his deadliest enemy. And so, she says everybody, um, ate the cookies, so now they are all soulless and obedient. And she wants him to also eat the cookies, but tells him that even if she doesn't eat the cookies, it's not going to change anything, and there's no pain. And she'll be back shortly for his answer. So now we are at the offices of some lawyers here, and they're saying that they have the report, and Dr. Willis was arrested on suspicion of murder. And this must be one of the lawyers here. So his secretary is telling him that they're not able to find Dr. Willis, and he thanks her, and then he needs a package delivered um, to Long Island to the doctor's father. And he opens the safe here. Um, Says that they all knew that this day was coming, but he'll obey those instructions. So hands her the package, and now we are in Asgard. So basically, Balder has freed Silverhoof from his mission that we covered on the previous issue here, and he's upset that he broke the oath that he said he was not gonna do. Because of course Loki and Malekith manipulated him. So he is going to basically he wants to die, but there's somebody here watching him and says, "So you seek death? Look no further. My sword will send you swiftly into Hela's waiting arm." Hela is the goddess of death, of course. So then back to New York. I really like it. Simonson just he just jumps. He just goes from here to here to here to here. Just kind of give you little snippets of his overall story. Just moving this thing. It is remarkable how talented he is, not just at these beautiful drawings, but at his writing. So we are in Melody's apartment here, and you know, she is going to, of course, try to put the moves on um, who she knows is Thor, but Thor doesn't know that who she is. So, and now we are going to Long Island, and the package has been delivered here to Dr. Willis's father. So I want to kind of make a something that I think was a bit of a mistake here, and I don't know if anybody had caught it. I know for sure I've read this so many times, and I guess I've always kind of didn't even realize that this happened. So real quick here, there, he receives the letter, and says, "Dear Roger, it's very short here, but essentially, if you're reading this now, it can only mean I am at long last dead, or as good as dead, in which case I can finally speak to you as I have never been able to tell you who I am and what I have done. I know that things have never been well between us, and that the barriers I have had to erect around my life prevented me from being there when you needed me. But I know, too, that you have become the kind of man who will see what must be done and do it. I am proud of you for it. The enclosed papers explain everything. Study them well and destroy them. I'm handing over to you the greatest trust the human race has ever known. I've guarded it with my life. Now you must guard it with your own. Your loving father." So, in if you take a look, he is much older than Dr. Willis. However, um, it turns out that this is actually Dr. Willis's son. So we're just gonna kind of flip here, and here I need a package delivered to Long Island to Dr. Willis's father. So, but it is actually his son. So something is going on, something mystical about Dr. Willis. So I don't know whether or not this was meant to be just something else or whatever, but here it does say something delivered to his father, but here, of course, it says your loving father. So this is actually the son. So it just kind of on the rereading of this, I just found it interesting. So now we're back in the jail cell, and he found out that one of those french fries from the morning had fallen on him. So he makes a plan, throws out the cookies. Um, Great drawing. Just kind of setting things instead of showing everything in the indoors or whatever. This is really cool. It's just the one panel where he shows like the outdoors. Um, and so she thinks he ate the cookies and orders him and asks for the location of the casket and puts a french fry in her mouth, which of course makes her also disappear, and of course leaves the keys. So now he is on the road. He's heading to Long Island to see his son. And so he doesn't realize, though, that someone is actually chasing him here. And we'll see here because the lights turn on. Dr. Willis laments that, this having to burden his children with this, but he knows that there's just no options here. So now Melody says the music's very romantic and she's going to go change into something more comfortable. He needs to make a brief phone call. She tells him the phone is over there. He calls Avengers Mansion, and Jarvis, of course, who is the Avengers butler, and he asks if there were any messages, and he says yes, a Mr. Strother Esquire, a lawyer, sir, and he said something of the casket of ancient winters, and he didn't catch the individual's name. And now, of course, here you see mumble mumble, and he says yes, I believe that was the name. So he gets the guy's address, and you can see he's very concerned, and he startles Melody and says he has to go to see a lawyer about a will, but it's an emergency. He of course says, "I must see a lawyer about a will." He realized immediately that that was dumb, but he of course strikes the hammer. I love this just kind of combination of the two, and then this great panel here by Simonson. And Thor says there is definitely a problem going on. So Dr. Willis knows that he was being followed, and he is running, trying to lose them. So he goes and forces them to get out of their cars to where the cars can't follow. They get out and need to get him. This guy here mentions it'll be the wild hunt for us if he escapes us again. So again, with that reference, it was referenced earlier. in this issue. So he disposes of the first one, and then the second one, they're all running to him, and he is just running as fast as he can. A woman here approaches him on a sports car and tells him to get in and hurry, it's almost there. And they take off here, and it says, "Oh, you've been a lifesaver." So Thor now is going to go into that lawyer's office and basically, um, the Thor wants to know a little bit more. The Dark Elf, and of which who is of course Malekith of the or Malekith the Accursed from the second Thor movie. Essentially, Thor wants to know what's happening here and what's going on or why. So so we're now back to the lady in the Ferrari. I think her name, she said, was Angel. And he's feeling very relaxed. And the music, it seems like he is falling to the music, and um, he is, like I said, he's falling in a spell to the music here. So something's going on. And here, she tells him she's been waiting a long time to meet him, or they've been waiting a long time to meet each other. So he says there's something about her that's familiar, and that he's never seen a woman that is so beautiful. And so she stops the car and says, "I know you want to kiss me." And she says, "Yes, yes, I do, and I love you." And he says, "Great. Tell me where you hid the casket of ancient winters." And we see that she is actually part of that group. Um, and unfortunately, even though he didn't eat the cookies or anything, the music ensnared him. And so, and then he tells them that after she tells them, then they'll kiss. And um, if you did a great job in the drawing. Look at how hypnotized he looks. Absolutely wonderful storyteller Walter Simonson is. And we take an interlude here. Twilight, the sword is finished, and we kind of see the shape of that figure. I mean, how many issues has this been going on? Of course, and so he is kind of finally revealing that the sword is done. And here you can see, similar to how he's done it before, just all these demons and monsters in there. So now that he's done, the fire creature destroys the anvil, and of course, Doom. So the woman gets out of the car, and it turns out it wasn't a woman. It was in Malekith, him, um, who pretended to be Angel. So there, he needs to go find the casket, and just pretty cool. Um, and he leaves, and there's the corpse as he finally killed Dr. Willis. And here, of course, is confused, bewildered, afraid to eat a McBurger again. Don't be. All will be explained next issue. And then here, if we can figure it out in time. And then, of course, the Wild Hunt. So I hope you enjoyed this. This run of Walter Simonson is just hitting all the strides. He had, like I said, he had a great run in Thor, half as writer artist, the other half just as writer with Sal Buscema, um, drawing most of those here. But I hope you enjoyed it. So, Thor 345 from 1984, written and drawn by Walt Simonson, with letters by the great John Workman. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe.